Russia and Iran, in my opinion, are the most sanction-proof countries in the world currently. Why do I say that? Is because Iran and Russia have been sanctioned since decades now, in one way or another. And therefore, these two countries' economies are not booming. However, they're very self-sufficient. What I mean by that is, if you look at a car, for example, in these countries, they make all the parts for it, plus they assemble the car. In other countries, for example, talk about America, the car is usually shipped in from a different country, and if we have factories here, the parts come from different countries. So what that means is when we get into a war, these countries that are sanction proof are going to thrive because they don't need parts to assemble stuff, nor do they need the products to come from the external. They make it all in-house. And even though they have a lazy economy to American standard, they're self-sufficient. And the problem with the European countries and America is that we outsource everything to China and other countries, from the raw resources, like for example, bananas to coffees to so on and so on. And therefore, we don't produce much here in our own back home. So when war breaks out and products are hard to get, it is only going to create massive tension and hardship for the American citizen in their pocketbooks. This is an economy channel, because there's not going to be stuff at the shelf. If you go to your grocery store and you want to buy banana, there's not going to be bananas. You go to the next grocery store and there's not going to be any bananas. If you want to buy bread, not your favorite bread is out, all bread is out. And you'll go to the next store. The reason is the bread, the banana, the beans, the coffee, everything comes from other places. And when there is a world war, all these countries are going to put their attention into bullets and bombs versus production of goods, which means that there's going to be a shrinkflation. There's going to be shortage of stuff. On top of that, both sides going to knock out other sides. Rail station, roads, food, water, because everything is fair game in war, unfortunately. So the point of the story is that we in America are going to face very hardships when and if a war breaks out with Russia, because that country is self-sufficient and they make all their stuff at home because they've already been sanctioned and tariffs and since many decades. Same thing with Iran. Okay. And at the same time, if you look at even the physiological aspect of the body of a, let's say, Iranian, or the body of a Russian, they're not obese. If you look at the population of America, 50% of the people are obese. And you can look at that by just Googling it, from little kids all the way to adults. So the point that I'm trying to say is there's going to be hardships coming because we don't produce stuff here. And these countries are self-efficient. In a hard time, they're going to shine a lot more than countries that have, you know, on time delivery, on time product delivery, groceries on time, when they don't have stuff piled up in the back, basically. When they're running low, they get an order in the next few hours. Okay. That system is going to hurt us. Plus, the ability not to produce stuff is going to hurt not only us, but I think a lot of the European countries, because we've been dependent on someone else washing our toilets, washing our dishes. And we don't know how to wash these things because we've been lazy bus, just to be honest with you. Uh, and we have the money and we get into debt and we can hire people to do it for us. You know what I mean? Where the other people over there in those other countries, they had to cut the grass and they had to do this, they had to do that. And they did it all in home. And the cutting grass tool was made in their own country versus from Taiwan. So hard times are coming, I believe, if we go to war. And I think that it's not going to be an easy war. It's not going to be something we've never seen before. We already have inflation. Now we're going to be introduced to hyperinflation. We already have shortages. Now we're going to be introduced to waiting in line to finding one item and less choices if we go to war and it's a prolonged war. So a lot of crazy madness. Um, but I don't want to say I told you so, but man, I've been telling you guys that things are getting crazy. And once the monetary system breaks, then we have to have scapegoats to blame it on. If you look at Germany, if you look at history, when the economy went bad, Hitler said it's the Jews' fault, it's the immigrants' fault. They took the job, they did this, but they didn't realize that the people didn't realize it's their own government's fault that brought them to their knees. Now they need a scapegoat. And that happens over and over in all kinds of countries, all time eras. And if you're just a stoop of history, you realize, hey, this is a recycle of a previous chapter. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Click the like button. Always remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you ever imagined. Romy. Real quick, download my free book, Real Estate Investing for Beginners, the ultimate starter guide at myrealestatedojo.com, where I teach you how to find motivated sellers, buy their homes at a deep discount, and then have the seller become your own private bank. Subject to, get it now. One more thing, if you're looking for private one-on-one help when it comes to real estate investing, then consider joining my academy where you sit down with me one-on-one. 2, you get monthly coaching. 3, you get access to my best-selling courses. 4, you get access to my video library, and then the list goes on for just $97 a month. Join me now at mrnofluff.com. Lastly, the best six-figure side hustle, bicycle flipping. Want to see how? Here's a behind-the-scene video how I did it. Go to thebestsidehustle.mrnofluff.com. Now let's get back to the content.